Hi. So, this is like the, what is it, like the uncensored version of autism chats. So I'm going to talk to you about some real things that happen. So, this is for anyone, but it might be more for the really hyper-aware autistic like myself. The one who notices body language, tone, eyes, can read them, words said, everything. And we're like the Sherlocks of the autistic world, aren't we? And I'm going to tell you about your experience. Well, maybe you found a better way of dealing with it. And maybe you've got a more positive spin on it. But I have got a bit of a positive spin. So, the thing that people don't talk about is the workplace and being autistic. I haven't been in one workplace where I haven't been gaslit, where I haven't been bullied, where I haven't been emotionally abused, or anywhere. Not one place have I been where that hasn't happened. I've been in places where it happens less, but in most places I haven't. So for the hyper-aware autistic in a workplace, it's something that can end up driving us a bit potty and a little bit mad, because when you try and explain to someone who's not a hyper-aware autistic that their behaviour is affecting you, then you get gaslit. Or because one reason could be because they don't actually know what they're doing is emotional abuse and gaslighting, and because they haven't got the same depth as you've got. Or it could be they are aware but they don't want to change it because it's their sort of power game, which you'll find. I'm not saying autistics don't do those, not that I know many that do, but a lot of non-autistics, not a lot, but some non-autistics will use power games and gameplay to propel their careers, to give them that boost of ego that they need. And I'm just telling you that I don't want you to feel like you're alone with the gaslighting in a workplace, and I'm sorry it's happening. If it happens to you, I talk to a lot of people who do, and this is why autistics can't get into the workplace, because of the emotional abuse that occurs. But some people who are in charge deny that they're doing it, and I know this actually causes upset for non-autistics as well. The ones who are more emotionally intelligent and have to put up with it and go through it, and the frustrations of it. It's just a lot worse for, I would say, a hyper-aware autistic, because of the traumas that we've already been through, and the way the world doesn't really understand us. It's just another way of isolating us. So until things improve in workplaces and these kind of things are addressed properly and bullying isn't allowed, and it is taken seriously and not mocked or shown as a weakness, then it will be more difficult for us. But I think it's good to talk about it. We need to talk about it to make a change. If we hide from it, then there's never going to be a change. So I mean, there are people you can go to for support to do with bullying in the workplace. I mean, human resources, but it depends how close human resources are to the employer, whether they listen properly or listen to what you've got to say. But then there is I think it's ACAS as well, who can give advice, and there's quite a few charities and different things these days. So if anybody's got anything, I can find out some information for you to try and help and support you, but your feelings should be validated. So it's finding someone who will talk about these things. I tend to, with my workplace, because I work with non-autistics, some do have unhealthy behaviour patterns, and I'm very aware of unhealthy behaviour patterns. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, because I had a meltdown yesterday, and I didn't, but I will admit it, and I didn't communicate properly. And when we do, and you know what I mean, it's nobody should apologise for their meltdowns. I don't mean that, sorry, that's not it. But for me, because of my level, then I can kind of see, my effect. So I want, my communication. I've learned those sorts of things. So, you know, I will recognise, and we're quite a few of us are quite honest about those sorts of things. If we feel like we might have done something or other, we wouldn't deny it if we thought we did something, but the people around us, for people who have high trigger things, need protection and being looked after, need to be in a safer environment to cope with those things, not be made to feel guilty about them. But I wanted to talk about that in the workplace. So if you are experiencing any of that and you're hyper aware autistic, I know it's hard. So if there's anything I can do to advise and support you, what I generally do is I have a narrative that I keep to, and I do validation things for myself when I'm around someone. Say, like the other day, they ignored me as they walked past me, someone I work with, because something I did, I think, bothered them, but they ignored me rather than communicating with me. And I generally keep to myself in my office. I sit in my room with a kettle, because I did experience a little bit of bullying. I don't think they realise it was bullying. So I have my kettle in my room so I can do my job and talk to autistics and support people without that interaction, because for us hyper-aware autistics it's very upsetting. But I do have certain things in place where I do try and keep myself to myself and talk to other autistics so I'm not totally lonely. And there's certain strategies I put in place to try and protect myself from that. I keep as honest as I can to myself about it, and I know that it's not my problem. It's, this is theirs and their non-autistic way of communicating, which is rather than just talking to me and saying, well, this is what's happened and then moving on. It's sort of like a consistent bullying type of technique, which some use, which I might do a video on that just to explain that. We're going to stop now because I've talked for ages.